My Lego room just isn't really working for me anymore. It's time for a change. I work from a good sized desk that's under the window in the loft. The rest of the room is Lego. You've seen the Lego city that runs around the perimeter of the room, but there's also Lego stored under the eaves, and I have plenty of display space with shelves above and below the city. This was my first proper Lego city from about 5 years ago. It just used the right hand side of the room, and it was the closest I've ever come to finishing the city. Well, no, not finishing, but you know what I mean. I was pretty happy with where it was going, but I'd always get to a point where my enthusiasm for the layout would subside. I'd be thinking about how I could add a beach or a monorail, and then new sets had come out and I'd just feel the need to start all over again. I thought the problem was that I needed more space, but it turns out that was a trap. So we decided to get rid of the sofa bed and expand the city. I started off making a parallel layout, and then tried a U-shape for a bit, and then back to parallel, and back to U-shape, before finally moving the desk under the window and settling on this L shape. Plus it gave me a smaller little island desk where I can eventually try something new. For the most part that's worked, and it's meant I could fit in a campground, a train loop, a town, a harbour, a beach, loads of buildings and still have room for more. But with more space came more ideas and more projects that I just didn't have the time for. It's got to a point where I'd walk into the room, look around and just walk straight back out again and wouldn't know where to start. So for the past year or so I haven't really worked on the city or done much Lego in general, and I've missed it. A family holiday to Billund last summer and an amazing day at the Lego house really helped change my perspective on what I wanted from the hobby. I realised I'd become a collector. There's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't making me happy. I was buying sets that had no purpose or value to me. They'd just sit in my backlog and never get built, or when they did, they'd end up on a shelf and barely even looked at. It was time for a change. I decided that unless I could get added value from a set, like integrate it into the city, or if it sparks some emotional response like nostalgia, then I'm just not going to get it. I sold the backlog along with a few other sets that didn't meet my new criteria and started packing away the city ready for a fresh start. That's when I noticed something. Scaling back my collection was giving me a freedom to appreciate what I had. It gave me more space to breathe and spark new ideas about what I really wanted from the hobby. It was time to open that spreadsheet again. But instead of tackling everything at once, I'm making a start on a 20-ish baseplate city that I'm calling the East Side, because, well, it's on the East Side. And in the spirit of my new less is more attitude, I'm going to make some other changes in the room too. I do most of my Lego building at the dining room table, and that's fine when it's a new set like this excellent Tudor corner that I'm building right now. But when it's a mock or some landscaping, it's a bit harder, and I don't really want to build up my work desk either. So I'm going to sacrifice over a third of the Lego city and add a build desk and some more accessible part storage. As an extra bonus, the table above the part storage gives me another 12 or so base plates for a future project. Maybe a medieval diorama, or a big pirate scene. Maybe I could finally make that Ninjago area, or maybe something else. And then that leaves this whole big back wall of the loft. It's the first thing you see when you walk through the door, the main city. It works out at about 60 base plates of space, and at some point I'll come up with a plan for that and make a start. But not yet.